Here are two reasons why my community, the breakthrough community, is going to be more effective or better than one-on-one therapy. So first things first, the thing that transforms you and your behaviors the most is your belief system. Okay. Now, one-on-one therapy is great because you get to talk about yourself and you get to start thinking about all of your shit and you get to start unpacking it with a professional that's going to help you start to make sense of things and help you move through all of your stuff. And that's great, right? Because now you're starting to think about things. And the more you think about your shit, then you can start to think about your behaviors and why you do things and how you ended up doing the things that you do. Okay. Great. Awesome. At a certain point, though, a lot of my clients come to me because they feel like they still hit a wall and they're not really making as much progress as they would like to make in therapy. A lot of times people will come to me and be like, I feel like I'm just talking about my stuff and I'm like not really getting the action steps and I'm not really making the progress that I want to get to and so forth. Okay. So the thing is, obviously inside my breakthrough program, I give you a process and action steps and all that. But the other whole half of my winning formula is the community. Okay. So like I said earlier, your belief system and starting to change the way you think and your belief system is what leads to change behaviors, which is what leads to visible transformation and tangible results. First things first, when you come into my community, every single person inside of that community is screened and vetted. Like you can't find information about the breakthrough anywhere on the internet. You can't even like come into my programs unless you jump through some hoops and you've had several conversations with me, because I want to make sure that the right people are coming through my doors that are committed to doing the work and understand that this is a sacred space for healing and transformation. Then once you come through the doors, the thing that makes the difference, once you're in a group, once you're in the space with other people inside of my breakthrough community, is now first and foremost, therapy for one is therapy for all. So you get the perspective and understanding of many people versus just one. Because when you're only one-on-one, you're kind of like in your bubble. You're only with your thoughts and working with one other person. When you're in a community and when you're with a group of people, you get access to many brains. All of a sudden now you're scaling your thinking. Think about like, we talk about like scaling businesses. Like, what does it mean to scale a business? It means to grow exponentially. And so in that same sense, for your own personal growth and your own personal belief system, you want to scale this shit, because the more you scale this quickly, the more progress and transformation you're going to make, right? Like, why change your beliefs slowly over time when you can expedite this changing and expedite this perspective? That's what's going to change your behaviors and that's what's going to change your reality. So once you come into my community, all of a sudden you get access to dozens of different brains, dozens of different people who are all now learning and changing their perspective, and they're shifting their belief systems and overcoming their belief systems. You're surrounded by that. So now you're plugged into all these different brains and you're scaling, shifting your belief system. You're scaling, changing your perspectives. This is what expedites your growth, because now you are getting the support and influence of many different people who are receiving the same information and processing it out with you. That's the first reason why, okay? Because what we teach and what we practice and what we teach inside my programs is that therapy for one is therapy for all. So you'll be in a coaching call with me and I'll be teaching about something. Someone will ask a question, and then 5 other people will be like, oh shit, I had that same question. I wasn't even thinking about that. That's a good question. All of a sudden, you're starting to think about things that you didn't even know you needed to think about. And then I'll answer, and then someone will be like, oh, so you mean like this? And then they'll process it and they'll share it in the chat. And then 10 other people will be like, oh shit, that hits. Thank you. Thank you. Light bulbs go off. Your mind is blown. And all of a sudden you're shifting your thinking and your belief system hella faster than you would just on your own, just in your own bubble with just one other person in a vacuum. Okay. So this therapy for one is therapy for all is a real thing. And that is what expedites your growth. And that's what already makes it much better than just one-to-one therapy, because it's like now you're doing one-to-many. Now you're getting access to many people's perspectives, which expedites your belief system shifting, which expedites your perspective change, which ultimately is what's going to transform you. The second reason why the breakthrough community is better than one-to-one therapy is because of empathy and love. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's because you receive empathy and love from a community, not just one person, but from many people. Now, why is this important? Why is this so important for transformation? Why is this better than one-on-one therapy? At the end of the day, in case you didn't know, you think that you're going into therapy because you feel stuck, or you think you're in therapy because of whatever, like because you don't feel happy at work, right? Whatever gets you in therapy is great. Like that's like the thing that gets you in therapy. But a lot of the underlying reasons and a lot of the root causes is because you have a lot of shit to heal. You have pain, you have baggage, you have unresolved trauma, you're carrying shame, and you've been accumulating this shit for years and a lifetime. So then like maybe one event happens, like a death in the family or a breakup, or like you lose a job. And that one singular event is what gets you to therapy. But the reality is there's a bunch of other shit that needs to be unpacked so that you can actually change your reality and break the cycle and not repeat those patterns again in the future. So you don't end up in the same toxic relationship again. So you don't end up getting fired again, right? You need to break those cycles. And a lot of those cycles, a lot of these patterns got developed because years and years and years of accumulated baggage, pain, and unresolved trauma and shame and things that need to be worked through. Now, you need to unpack that stuff. Yes, processing, unpacking, that's important. That was part one, right? Therapy for one is therapy for all. That's the processing part. But the second part is the healing part comes from empathy and love. You see, the antidote to all the things that got you into therapy in the first place, the medicine for all of that, is empathy and love. That is what we all need. Every single one of us simply need empathy and love. Like, think about it. We all have fear of rejection. We all have fear of failure. We all are afraid that we're not good enough. We're all afraid that we're not lovable. This is all about us not feeling the love and empathy for ourselves, right? Self-love work. So we all need empathy in order to move through our shame. We all have shame. Everybody has shame. Right? Shame is the things that we're afraid to talk about. That's the things that we don't want to admit. But we all need to move through that, because if we don't, that shit holds us back. And the thing is, shame cannot exist where there is empathy. Like, empathy literally disintegrates and dissolves shame. So we all need empathy in order to move through shame. That's why therapy works too, by the way, right? Because you get the empathy of your therapist. But now imagine if you get the empathy of a whole community. Again, you're scaling empathy now. Think of it like a business. You're scaling empathy. You're moving through this shit so much faster, because now you're not just getting the empathy of one person, you're getting the empathy of a whole army behind you. And you got a whole squad that's like, bitch, I see you. I fucking love you. I'm here for you. Like, you don't need to be ashamed. I struggle with that too. I love you no matter what the fuck you've been through. I still think you're amazing. All of a sudden, you're scaling empathy, and that shame just dissolves so much faster than you trying to work through it for years on your own. So that's empathy. And then the second part is love, right? We all need love. We all need to feel seen. We all need to feel a sense of belonging. It's, again, the lack of these things that got you into therapy in the first place. How many of y'all been rejected by a partner, been rejected by your parents, been rejected by friends, right? You don't feel loved, and then that makes you feel small, and then you stop speaking up, and then that carries with you into adulthood. So love, again, is the antidote. It's the healing power. Once again, okay, you might get that love and empathy maybe from a therapist, but once again, now once you get that love from a whole ass community, you've now tapped into and you're scaling receiving love. That expedites your healing process. That expedites and scales your healing process, and it helps you move so much faster. So doing all of this healing and transformation work, we need to change our thinking. We need to start loving ourselves. We need to internalize that love. We need that empathy. As a bonus, one last thing, I want to just add one more thing, okay? The third bonus to why having the community and why the breakthrough community is better than one-on-one therapy is because when you're doing healing and transformation work, shit comes up. So many of my clients will be like, I would leave a therapy session and feel more raw, sad, and even more lonely because I just realized I have all these fucking problems. They end up just leaving more depressed because they opened up all these can of worms and now they don't know what to do. They leave therapy in tears, feeling all sad and sorry for themselves. They go home, end up fighting with their partner because of all the things that they just talked about in therapy. And you just don't have anywhere to like have that support after you leave your therapy session. And so that's, again, where the community can constantly support you 24/7. That's how it is in my world. Like that shit is 24/7 in my world, right? And so the community is always there to catch you and support you. There's always somebody there where we're witnessing you along your journey. We're there to lift you up and we're there to support you as you're moving through the hard things. That also speeds up your process and progress, which ultimately expedites your growth. Now, if you like taking it the slow and long way, that's fine too. Like that's your shit. You can do it however you want. But if you're an impatient motherfucker like me, you like to move through shit quickly, because I know for me personally, the sooner I heal, the sooner I move through my baggage, the sooner I get over my shit, the sooner I break through my limiting beliefs, the more I'm going to access my potential, tap into love, and let the abundance flow into my life. So for me, I'm all about how do I scale this shit faster? How do I grow myself faster, right? How do I get to where I know I'm trying to go anyways and create those shortcuts? So for me, having a community is the shortcut. The breakthrough community is that shortcut. It's the shortcut that you're hoping to get through one-on-one therapy. It expedites your growth. So therapy for one is therapy for all, because you're scaling perspective and belief system and understanding. 2, you're getting empathy and love, which is part of the healing, which is what we're all looking for in the first place. And 3, you have a support system. You have somewhere to come and fall and crash into as all your shit is coming up through your healing and transformation process, which is so incredibly necessary. I hope that was helpful for you as far as, whether or not you want to work with me or come into the breakthrough program or not. I just want to give you some perspective on the power of community, period. A community is important and it expedites your growth for so many reasons. So if you don't feel like you're making as much progress as you'd like in therapy, like please consider, do you have a community? I'm not talking about your friends, okay? Your friends are different. Like you go to brunch with your friends and you gossip and you party and bullshit with your friends. I'm talking about like doing the work, right? Moving through your dysfunction, unpacking your stories, sharing your stuff. That's a different thing, right? Do you have a community for that? Do you have a squad around you that is like learning these things with you and speaking the same language? Because that is essential for your growth. All right, so I hope that's helpful. Please let me know if you have any takeaways. Holler at me and I'll be happy to shoot you a DM or shoot me a DM if you want to talk about the breakthrough or learn more about what I have to offer. Because honestly, like straight up, my community is the fucking shit. We are the most amazing, open-hearted, mind-blowing, hilarious, loving, kind human unicorns on the planet. And yeah, obviously I'm biased, but that's because I know what's good. So anyways, holler at you, girl. Let me know if I can support you or if you want to talk about the breakthrough or my community anytime. Here for you. Love y'all. Bye.